guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be a review and comparison on these two palettes. This is the Urban Decay Heavy Metals palette, and this is the NYX In Your Element metal palette. And the reason I thought it would be a great kind of video to do together is because these are both fully metallic eyeshadow palettes. So you're not going to find any matte shades, any satin shades. These are just true metal eyeshadows, as the name would imply of each palette. So just before we jump into like my full thoughts, let's just do a few basic things. The Urban Decay palette, it's very interesting packaging to say the least. It slides out of its cover like this. And then you have the mirror in the middle, the neutral shades on the right over here, and then the more bold, brighter shades on this side. And so there's 20 total, and this retails, you guys, for 72 Canadian dollars. That is so expensive. Like, in my opinion, that is a ton of money to be spending on an eyeshadow palette. And I never know which way it goes back in. There we are. And then the next one is more of what you could call a traditional palette, I guess. It just flips up like this, has this kind of pretty design on the front. A really nice big mirror in just the top part, just like a traditional palette. And then these are the shades, and there's 12 in here. And this retails for $40. So this is also a very expensive palette, considering NYX typically is not that expensive. It is a drugstore makeup brand. So yeah, basically $72, $40, very expensive eyeshadow palettes. And a big reason for that is for both of these palettes, you need to have a complementary eyeshadow palette to use like alongside these. You really can't just use these on their own. But if you're watching this video, you probably have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, so that's not a major concern. Okay, so let's specifically talk about the Urban Decay one first. This packaging, you guys. So when I first saw this palette, I was like, oh my gosh, they are gonna get a lot of criticism for that because it is so different. But for me personally, when I saw it online and, you know, before I had purchased it, I thought that's kind of cool. It's different. I appreciate the creativity. Like, I like what they're doing with it. But the reason why I'm not a fan of this packaging is it is not functional. When you take this out, first of all, you have to like place this down, and then you have to hold it in order to see yourself. Your fingerprints get all over it. You basically have to like almost stick your thumb right there. And honestly, like, you can see all the different sort of dents and whatnot in the eyeshadows from dropping it. Like, it's really not easy to hold. And then you actually, when you're trying to like slide it back in, you don't know which side to slide in until you're actually trying to slide it in. And I actually got mine completely stuck in it at one point. Like, I must have tried to put it in the wrong side. And so it really is just a pain in the butt. Like, honestly, this packaging is enough for me to say that it is a pass. But the problem is that, you guys, the eyeshadows and the actual product in here is incredible. Like, if these eyeshadows were in a regular traditional palette, it would be a complete home run. It is honestly, this packaging really, really makes it kind of take a big step back, in my opinion. But we're gonna move past that. Let's talk about the actual eyeshadows in here. These are stunning. Like, whether you apply them with your finger, with a wet brush, just like all over the lid or on the lower lash line, they are absolutely beautiful. They really do look so metallic and like glossy on the eyelids. I love that you have this entire side of neutral shades over here, and then more bold ones on this side. Basically, having this palette in conjunction with like the Urban Decay Ultimate Basics palette, you have everything you need as far as like matte transition shades and your shimmery ones. And these truly do look so beautiful on the eyes. Like, they really are stunning. There's not a lot of even fallout. They're really soft. Like, they just have such a nice kind of creamy consistency to them, and I absolutely love them. For me personally, when I'm doing like bridal makeup, I oftentimes use a nice kind of shimmery shade all over the eyelid on brides or bridesmaids, and so this neutral side is going to be perfect. And then for me, I don't always branch out into more colorful, bold shades, so I'm excited to play around with these ones as well. I've used this blue one, I've used this kind of punk rock one, and I think that's all from the Colorful side, but I've used all of these. I will say that there are a few that are a little bit chalky, like they have a little bit of that like glitteriness to them, but if you apply with like a wet finger or a wet brush, I didn't mean to flip you off there, I'm sorry, you'll get that really, really beautiful payoff. Like, the shadows in here are stunning. So that's what I have to say about the Urban Decay one specifically. Moving in to the NYX Metal Palette, I love this packaging. It is so funny, you guys, because like, look at the comparison of just how much smaller the NYX one is. And you are getting less shadows in here. You're getting 12 as opposed to 20. I wonder what the size are. So you get 20 times 0.03. And in here, you get 12 times 0.05. Oh my gosh, guys, I just did the math. You get the exact same amount of product in both of these palettes. It's 0.6 ounces like total. However, there's 12 shadows in here and 20 in here. So there's more variety in the Urban Decay one, but you actually are getting the same amount of product. So when you open it up here, this mirror is actually so nice. It's a very like crystal true type of mirror. I really, really like it. And then these are the shades, which I think these are so pretty. You get some neutrals in here, but you actually have like more bold shades in here than neutrals, I would say. And the payoff, the color of these shadows is 100% comparable to the Urban Decay one. They go on the lid so nicely. And actually, I think these ones go on even better without, like just with your finger, without wetting a brush. These ones look amazing, like I said, when you wet your brush. These ones, you really don't even have to do that. They look, I would say, the same whether they're applied wet or dry. I love the variety that's in here, I think especially for the holiday season coming up. And for $40, like even though, yes, that's absolutely expensive, like that is, you know, quite a high price point when it comes to a drugstore eyeshadow palette, the quality is worth it. You are getting a high-end quality palette for $40. So that's kind of the way that I would think about it. And I know in the States, of course, it's like $30, and I'm assuming this one is like $60. I'm not 100% sure. I love the variety that's in here, but I have to say when it comes to the actual shades, I'd give it to the Urban Decay one, just because you have all of those neutrals and the bold shades. And of course, for me, I'm a neutral girl through and through. And these ones in here, while they're super fun, I'm not going to get a ton of use out of this teal or the green or the purple, for example, the light blue. But this palette is so good. It really is. Like both of these palettes are very well done. I think it just depends if you are somebody that oftentimes wears shimmery eyeshadows. Are either one of them must-haves? I don't think so. Like I think there's a lot of great eyeshadow palettes out there, especially if you're looking for something that does your entire look without having to reach for another palette, but they are both really good. As far as it comes to packaging, of course, I'm sure you guys can already guess, I'm gonna give it to the NYX one. I love how compact this is. There's no way I would ever go traveling with this thing. I even have a hard time kind of storing it. It takes up so much space, especially because this cover has like, it's not like completely flat. So that part I really, really don't like about this, like the packaging on this, man, it is, you know, quite a pain, but the actual eyeshadows, to me, it does make it worth it. I am glad that I have this, and I just think you can see from the swatches how just incredibly beautiful this palette is. As far as the NYX one, if you are looking for some shimmery eyeshadows and like metallic eyeshadows, and you don't quite want to spend this much, or maybe you have a small area where you keep your makeup collection, this one is the way to go. You will not be disappointed. I really, really like the shades in here. I know I'm going to get a ton of use out of it. I already have. So as far as picking one or the other, I would have to go with the Urban Decay Heavy Metals one, just based on the amazing eyeshadows and the pigmentation and just the color selection. But honestly, this packaging is enough to make me pick the NYX one. So it really just kind of depends what you're looking for. The shades in the NYX one are not, there's not as much variety, which I think is its biggest downfall, but the formula is beautiful. They work so nicely. But I really, really love those neutral shades in the Heavy Metals one. But this is just so compact and easy to store and travel with that it really, really makes it a winner in my book. But the Urban Decay one, like I said, the shades really, really do speak for themselves, regardless of this really sort of just obnoxious packaging, I guess, for lack of a better word. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on both of these palettes. I actually really like both of them. They're great. I'm sorry if you were looking for like a clear winner. If you are looking for just a really, really great shimmery eyeshadow palette, I think you'd be happy with either one of them. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.